Hi, hello, good morning, my young officers. Welcome back to the 6 a.m. current topics in news for UPSC Prelims 2022. So, this is Nisha Nujumudeen, your educator on Unacademy, an expert in Indian economy, current affairs, and MCQs. So, here we are with the most interesting and an amazing topic of the day, that is raising legal age of marriage for women in India. Do you think it is a need or do you think it is a curse, taking into consideration so many traditional, religioustic, and also the other beliefs of the people of our country, India? So now this is a very, very important topic because this is a topic as a UPSC CSE aspirant, or let's say as a common individual, be it a man or a woman or a girl or a boy, should be able to put forward, or let's say raise their voice, be it for the motion or against the motion. So this is a kind of class where I'll be putting up some thoughts into your brains where you will be able to express your viewpoints in the right manner. So yes, that is the sole idea of this particular topic. So if you see in the month of December 2021 and also in the current month Jan, a lot of discussions with regard to this hot topic of the day is really going on. So I thought, why don't we discuss as to why is there a need of increasing the legal age of marriage for women in India? From both the perspective. This is not a one-sided class or a session. So through this particular class, the whole intention is very simple, guys. I want you people to have a clear-cut understanding why such kind of bill was proposed by the government and why the union cabinet approved it. And do you think it's a new bill? No, it has been there for more than a year. Since August 2020, this was actually put forward. The proposal was put forward by the government under the Modi government. But then it took 2021 for the union cabinet to give a nod to it. And there are so many background data which you should understand with regard to this particular increasing the legal age of marriage for women in India. So I'll be taking you through all these things and telling you the current affairs scenario of this particular topic, why it popped up again, and also the recommendations given by the current committee, and what are the reasons that you should really look forward for such a kind of movement wherein you have to increase the age from 18 to 21. And now at the same time there are some group of people who say, come on, that's not required, we need to still keep it 18, taking into consideration so many of the perspective. So I'll even be telling you the pros and cons, because a coin has a head and a tail and a light and a darker side. So does every single topic. So the same thing will be analyzed in this class. And finally, what is the way forward? Putting both the scenarios, or let's say putting both the points into consideration. What could be an effective or a balanced viewpoint? That's what every single individual should take into consideration as well. So this is what in this particular class we'll be doing. And this will be a very, very interesting topic because this is, apart from being a class, this is a class where you can literally express your viewpoints via the chat box. So yes, that's a very, very warm good morning to all of you. Yes, Varsha, good morning. Hi, Shravanti, Rishabh, Kumar, Tejas, Ram Kumar, Devdashni, Alok, and that's a good morning, Namaste, Suprabhat, Sab Kuch. Oh my goodness. So I know that compared to any other day, this day 6 a.m. topic is really on fire because the topic itself is like that. You can see two different pictures in this poster. This is my Unacademy picture, and this is another picture of mine. This is not my wedding picture and all. This is also my own picture, guys, the one with jewels and sari. That is a photo shoot. But I was a traditional Hindu bride, whatever. So I just want to show you the differences with me, myself, without taking anybody into consideration. So now I have given you two different dimensions of pictures of mine just to show, do you really think it should be a marriageable age when a woman grows, when she has a change in her physique? It's not about the change in the physique, it's about the change in the mental perspective. It's about when she is all ready, when she really wants to be independent. So in that particular perspective, I'll take you through this session. So this is not a one-sided class where, okay, you have to increase the legal marriage age of women to 21. No, both the dimensions, from the background data to the reasons supporting the arguments and the reasons against, as I told you before, will be discussed with the proper conclusions. Clear? Perfect. So all excited? And before that, can you see a link that is put up in the chat box that is pinned by the Unacademy UPSC Articulate YouTube channel? Click on that, it will take you to my Unacademy profile, guys. Okay, where you can follow me with all the updates. And now the upcoming special classes every day 6 p.m. As usual, you will have the UPSC level MCQs for Prelims 2022 with a 360-degree coverage from across all the subjects of UPSC, static and current affairs questions with a quick 360-degree coverage will be discussed. So don't miss that hit list series, because that is the session which is very, very important for those serious aspirants. And also plus classes, it's a paid class where you have all the economy NCERT courses, comprehensive course, current affairs course and stuffs like that. Clear? And I'm also an expert in Indian economy, current affairs and MCQs. So literally you can follow those courses. You can just go through the other profile of mine. I'm also a assistant professor at Hindustan University, and I work as economist for Government of India, along with mentoring 15 lakh plus students with an experience of 7 solid years in the field of teaching exclusively UPSC. Apart from that, you can just go through all the other accolades. And in this context today, I want to inform you something. Since we're doing the topic that is raising legal age of marriage, I am also one of the knowledge coordinator of Nirbhaya Institute for Human Development, and also various other women organizations, and propagate gender, the gender parity issues, and to end that, because all these things are quite important, right? That's why I just want to bring it to your notice. Anyways, so yes, my young officers, all ready? And now, when the clock strikes 6 a.m., the moment you wake up, come and attend this current topics in news, because every single day we'll have different amazing topics, guys, from every single subject. Okay. So yesterday we discussed a topic based on monetary policy report from economy. So today here we are with the governance and social justice topic, and also a topic based on polity perspective, because a lot of articles and acts and bill will come into it. So like this every single day, such kind of effective topic which will be very useful for the prelims and mains examination, most importantly, will be discussed in our class. Clear? So those who missed the previous class, the link is already available. You can please go through. And now I have a request to all of you. Once the session is over, 5 to 10 minutes active debate should happen via the chat box in the class, because that is very important, to express your viewpoints, be it anything. Because that is the way we'll be able to understand what is the stand that we have in one particular topic. Whatever stand you have, be it positive or negative, after knowing the topic in depth, in a crystal clear manner, you got to put out or shoot out the point which you feel, come on, this is it. So this is a platform or a class which will enable you and give more importance to your perspective, and that is what you'll be writing in the UPSC mains examination as well when such kind of topic happens. Clear? Yes, Varsha Gupta, it is also beneficial for the mains. Absolutely beneficial for the mains, I should tell you. For the next mains, not this year, the next year, at 2022 coming up now, you may get a question based on this. It's not you may, you will get. And prelims, they will ask you with regard to the bill, why it was proposed, what is the background data. So keeping in mind all those, I'll teach you. Clear? Perfect. So here we go. With regard to the Union Cabinet's giving nod of increasing the legal age of marriage women in our country, India, to 21, from 18 to 21. Before that, here is an amazing quote of the day to start your class, just to boost up your spirits and motivation. What is that? When life puts you in tough situation, don't say why me, but rather say try me. And that's the attitude every single man and woman or every single human being should have. Why me? Why I'm subjected to this? Why is this happening to me? Forget about it. You keep trying me, I'll show and prove out to you what I am. The kind of confidence, the kind of capabilities, the kind of strength that you have to redefine yourself will be brought in there, because you start fighting the battle with no one rather than your own self. The 3-letter word called as why or you can be really projected in that scenario. So keep this in mind, okay? So all done for the day? All cheered up? Yes. And with regard to the plus subscription all, please go through this, guys. Anyways, without much of other discussions, let's quickly do it. So yeah, here we are to crack it. So are you all ready to study such amazing topics from around the world? Quickly give a thumbs up. That's very important. Wonderful. So now why this particular topic is because this is coming under the area, as I told you, the issues related to women, governance, social justice, polity and all. So recently the cabinet, they decided to increase the legal age of women. I repeat, the legal age of marriage for women from 18 years to 21 years old. Take care. Now, in this particular session, couple of things which we'll be discussing is, of course, the introduction, the background data, why this is brought in and when it was brought in, and now, what is the current minimum age of marriage for women? That's 21. That's what they want to do it. It is 18, but they want to make it 21. But we know in reality, even people who are less than 18 is getting married across our country, India, subjected to child marriages, other abuses and stuffs like that. And for that, they say we are financially weak, so then we have no other choice. Bullshit, let me tell you. Which is preventing the growth for the women and for the country India as a whole, because The women population constitute the more number of population. That's again another point to be understood. So that is what we'll be discussing, followed by what are the reasons mentioned by a committee called as Jaya Jaitley Committee with regard to raising the legal age of marriage. So currently the task force constituted by our finance Ms. Nirmala Sitharam has brought this. But then previously in the year 2020, there was a committee formed by Jaya Jaitley to literally increase the legal age of marriage as per the recommendations given by the ruling government. And so what are the reasons mentioned by them when initially this was put forward? These are all background data. And now, what do you think could be the real benefit of increasing the legal age of marriage? Here comes the advantage or the pros from a very, very wide perspective. So this will actually widen your mind and widen the horizon and bring so many points into your brains, like if there is a right to vote, if there is a right on all the other things, why not there should be an equality with regard to the right to marriage? Why is discrimination over there? These kind of questions you'll be getting answers here. And next is, when you talk about the benefit, what are the challenges? I'll put it up as legislative challenges. Okay, in raising the legal age of marriage of women, very important point. Followed by the argument. See, benefits, and then we are talking about the challenge, the legislative challenge, followed by the arguments against. Once you know the legislative difficulty or the challenge in increasing the legal age of marriage, then the arguments against the concept or the topic of increasing the legal age of marriage should come into place. So in a very systematic manner, I have structured the points for your better understanding. And now, what are the way forward? What you really need to do after understanding all these things towards women empowerment, which is very, very important. What are the current committee recommendations? And now, the other recommendations from my personal point of view based on the research paper on gender budgeting and gender disparity, which I have been doing. And also as economist, I have also given few recommendations. Let's quickly have a look into it. Okay. So this is what we'll be doing. Now, by the way, let me ask a question to all of you, be it man or woman. Do you really agree the children, or let's say the students or the youngsters of this 21st century, come on, let's increase the marriageable age to 21? Is it a welcome address to you or welcome stuff to you, or something that is not acceptable? I think everybody will say, come on, a big welcome. Taking into consideration the progressive, development that can happen to a girl child and ultimately to women, right? And I want to tell you something. You should always be a woman of quality, strength, and vigor. Be a woman of strength and honor. And don't be a woman that needs a man, but be a woman that a man needs. I repeat, don't be a woman that needs a man, but be a woman that a man needs. And that's not an easy task. You got to really build yourself, fight for yourself, and create your own barrier and create your own shield to protect yourself against all the single odds or barriers that is coming out there. Clear? Perfect. So now, the legal age of marriage for women. If you see, currently we said 18 to 21. But previously, if you see, there are some countries which even allow the females to marry with parental consent even before the minimum age. So you can see sometimes with the moment a girl child attains puberty or a menstruation cycle, she gets married. Sometimes with her wish, or most importantly, 95% chance without a wish in the age of 12 to 14, 15 to 16, and sometimes 17 and all. And now 18, they say she becomes an adult. But let me tell you, till 19, she's still a teenager. Where maybe physically she could have a bodily changes, but not mentally. She got to really work a lot more to make herself mentally very strong and to develop herself. But before that, when you get into commitment as such, what happens? So keeping in mind all these things, only this particular committee was brought in with this. Clear? Can you see the countries, guys? If you see India, currently it is 18. Whereas if you see there are countries like, China, where the minimum age of marriage is 16. And don't be in a shock. Even Japan and UK is even a shocking stuff for you. People don't be in a shock. It's a reality. Even the advanced countries like UK, US, which you say, do you think the marriageable age is 21 or 25? No, it is 16. Sometimes you can see in Australia they say it is 18. So now the countries around us is also following few things like this. But the violence that they have, the domestic violence, the abuse they have is less compared to what we have here. That is the whole difference. If you see Nepal 18, then Rwanda 21, Singapore 20. When you see Rwanda being South African country, they are much more advanced here. It is at least 21. And of course, Singapore being the cleanest city, again 21. And Brazil, Canada, Afghanistan is 15, Brazil and Canada is 16. And can you see Bolivia and Uruguay? So pathetic to see that the minimum age is 12 and 14. So in that case, India is far, far better. At least we are holding on to 18 after so many fights and so many, policies and stuffs like that. So this is the background data which you should understand on a global perspective. Clear? You never thought now the other countries will have such a kind of minimum marriageable age. This is for you to have a better understanding and to show you the reality. Come on, this is all about. And this is taken as per the news report of UN data. That is the marriage age in the US, if you see, they are determined by the state and the territory. That is the age at which the girls can marry without parental of judicial consent is higher in most countries. They go and get married or they have a live-in relationship. So that the age is quite earlier. Because over there, once you become a teenager in the Western countries, they have a practice of leaving the kids to become more independent. So they kind of get themselves more refrained. But then in India, even after marriage also, they keep spoon feeding. Some over or excess of care, care that the parents show out there, which is actually spoiling the child. So there are multiple dimensions to be taken into consideration. Clear? Yes, Varsha, you asked me why. That's what I told you, the reason why of the US perspective. Why it is a little early for them or why it is allowed for them. So now, back to the topic of discussion, if you see, this particular proposal put forward by the Union Cabinet for bringing uniformity, or let's say I can put it in a very nice term as equality in the marriageable age of both men and women is certainly a progressive step. Don't you think so? Now, I'm going to connect this point with the next current affairs. That is, it is said that by the year 2030, our country, India, must be able to attain almost every single goal, all the 17 goals, at least to a minimum level, which is put forward in the SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goal. So now if you see the goal 5 of SDG talks about equality, talks about breaking the gender disparity and stuffs like that. So now keeping in mind that particular perspective, don't you think so? Raising the legal age of marriage for men and women in our country, India is basically a progressive step because it is in par with the so-called goal of SDG, which will enable you to realize the goal and that asks the nation states to formulate policies so you will be able to attain what? Gender equality. So the next important stuff is that we need to have equality, not only in terms of distribution of resources and wealth, but also in terms of distribution of the gender as well. Because we know what is happening really in our country, India, in spite of all the progressive attitude and other progressive policies and programs. Still a lot more has to be done. So this particular part can be stressed even more. Clear? However, though this is a real scenario, why this is brought in also, let me tell you that this good intention does not guarantee favorable outcome. Because not everybody is going to accept this, Even the people who are educated, because when sometimes when they are a parent of a 2 or 3 girl child, or you can see even a 1 girl child, taking into consideration the other activities that is happening over here, they say, why would we keep our girl for long in our home? We got to get them married and we got to make them safe. This is the attitude even some educated parents do have. That's why it is said that the good intention of such kind of proposal put forward by the Union Cabinet does not guarantee a favorable outcome. And now if you see such kind of coercive, which means forceful laws, okay, without the proper support from the society, often fail to deliver even in the statement of object and reasons aimed for the larger public good. Simple. The government really want to do something good, but then when the societal support is failing, when the people are not agreeing to it, no matter the intention is good also, the expected result or the outcome with such kind of decisions will not come. So it is for the good of the larger public in a very wide scenario, but people become very narrow in their thinking that time. I'm not talking about the entire population. I'm talking about the so-called population who's really against it. Clear? Now, let me quickly take you to the background of this particular topic. If you see, this is not a new thing. If you see, since August 16, 2020, the government was actually mulling to revise the legal age of marriage for girls, and that is what our PM Modi also said. Okay. And they said that we have to increase the age of marriage. So if you see, 56% of women in our country, India, if you see as per the 2020 data, they were marrying between 18 and 21. Okay, if you see all the age groups, okay, taking 12 to 14, 15 to 16, 18 to 20 and all, in rural area, 25.5% they get married, whereas urban 12.1. Whereas 18 to 19, it was 10.6 in rural and 3.1 in urban. The urban area, the number is less. And more than 20 and 21, or it was little less. That is 4.9% only in rural, whereas 2.6 in urban. And between 18 and 21, the proportion was higher. You can see 15.5% of women, which means 61% of population got married that time in rural India. Whereas in urban, it's just 47. Altogether, 56% of women in our country, India, between the age of 18 and 21, they get married. Clear? And this is the data as per the census of 2011, guys. Let me tell you that. Now, if you see, as I told you, the different countries, the kind of map, or the kind of chart what I showed you. Keeping in mind the global scenario, when you want to do a comparison for a country, even if you see in Saudi Arabia, men and all, less than 14 years, they consider to be a marriageable age. That's what I said. That when the women attain puberty, for that they bring the religious perspective. No religion has said that you should marry when you're 12 or 10. See, though I'm not offending or defending any religion or anything. Let me tell you that the whole point is, when they feel that when a woman attains puberty, she's all set to be a doll for anybody out there. That's the whole. It's kind of legal right given to somebody to abuse a woman, or to legal right to rape her, saying that come on, she is a married female or she's a wife. No, that's not the case. So people even do that less than 14 years. When they attain puberty, they do that. In Sudan and all, they really do that. And 18 years, if you see, around 143 countries, including India, they follow this. And 20 countries, they follow 21 years, and that includes countries like Indonesia and all who accepted that move. So why can't a country India also focus? Why? Because see, the number of population that is increasing in a country India every now and then has a greater number of women population out there. So now you need to do something for this population, keeping in mind the progressive developmental outcomes for the girl population, or let's say the women population that we do. That is why all these policies are put forward. Clear? And also to end malnutrition, the biggest social evil, leading to micronutrient deficiency, leading to poverty, leading to lower living standard, leading to hunger. At the end of the day, growth and development has been degraded. And also at the end of the day, what is happening? The women development is brought down. So now basically to end all these things among the girls, okay, and to assess what should be the age of marriage only, the PM was actually putting forward a committee under the leadership of Jaya Jaitley. So many recommendations were given by the Jaya Jaitley committee on the same in the year 2020. Now the same thing has been brought back in the year December 2021. Exactly on December 17th, this was brought in. And again, 3 days before, the same topic discussion was happening as a whole. That is why I brought this topic. Clear? This is the current, relevance. Yes, Ashutosh. But I think with this step, the awareness program should also run the same time. Of course, Ashutosh. That's what we'll be discussing towards the end in the awareness perspective. Okay. Now, let me quickly take you to the background details. So, can you see this picture? Save childhood. Bal Vivah ka, what is it? Abhiman, or what is it? Abhiman, or it's an avish. It's not an avish. It's actually an insult for the children. They are children. They need to play. They are in the age of developing themselves, not of taking care of a family and giving birth. So you will be thinking that, oh my goodness, ma'am, our grandmothers, great grandmothers, they were married even at the age of 12. Even my own grandmother, she got married when she was at a very, very young age, a very tender age. But that doesn't stop her from doing what she wanted, okay? Though she was married at the age of 12, she was the first lady supervisor in Kerala to run the Radha Soap Company. The first Muslim lady supervisor out there, a very strong woman. She was studying. She was hardly in 8th or 9th, but she completed with after giving birth to two children also. She never stopped. Though the people were against her, she was very smart enough to convince them, and she went. See, not every family is the same, right? But till my grandfather was alive, she was with my grandfather only. They had no issues. He was a little bit, a kind of broad-minded person, due to which he could do that. But not people who get married at the age of 12 and 13 and 11 have the same opportunity. You understand? So this is something which I really wanted to bring it to notice as well. Clear? Anyways, talking about the background details, if you see way back in the year 1929, which means even before independence, there was an act called as Sardar Act. It's called as Sardar Act, guys. The Sardar Act of 1929, it was the first law in our country, India. For what? For establishing a minimum legal age of marriage. And in the year 1929, again, the same Sardar Act was renamed as CMRA. What is that? Child Marriage Restraint Act. But then things were like not that progressive or improved over those days, because the mentality of people, the attitude of people, the kind of traditional and the conventional attitude they have is the same. So after independence, after so many years, in the year 1978, the same Child Marriage Restraint Act was amended, or let's say a lot of changes was done, where they said, come on, hereafter among male and female, or man and woman, or girls and boys, there should be minimum age for for fixing the marriage as well. And they said for girls 18 and boys 21. What nonsense is that? You tell me now. Okay, those days they felt this should be the case. But just think, you say right to vote. Both male and female should vote. Both man and women or girls and boys should have vote at the same age of 18. Both male and female or girl and boy should get equal access to education, equal healthcare facilities, equal opportunities, economically, socially, politically, fundamentally, financially, sab kuch. Then why not an equality with regard to the minimum age of marriage? It's your choice. See, I am not saying that people should not marry before 18 if they want to. Because in this 21st century, if you really want to do that, go and do it. But at your own choice. It is not at the choice of somebody else. Or it's not by the pressure or the force given by somebody else again. You understand? And this child marriage is a curse, no doubt in that. And this has been followed even today, especially in states like Rajasthan and all, under the so-called religious or traditional perspective. What nonsense. Even in many communities, they do the saying this is how it should be. That's absolute bullshit. You see all the web series and a lot of movies and documentaries were put forward on the same as well to create awareness. Now, in the year 1978, they did all this. Now, again, even in the new law which they brought in, they said there should be a prohibition of Child Marriage Act called as PCMA in the year 2016. And now this is what substituting the previous, act that we had for fixing the minimum age of marriage called as Child Marriage Restraint Act. And thus, this particular, act called as CMRA, which was put forward in the year 1939, the position remained unchanged. 1821. This is the background data of the so-called topic, guys. And please keep in mind, the very first law was put up in the year 1929 called as Sardar Act, later renamed as Child Marriage Restraint Act. Now, in the year 2020, Jaya Jaitley committee was constituted by the PM by Prime Minister to put some recommendations, okay, with regard to the so-called, topic. So, what was the rationale you think was given by Jaya Jaitley committee to increase the age? All these are background data. Girls are not brides. Women can be a bride, but not a girl. There is a difference. And there was a global partnership also to end child marriage. Look at the beautiful picture, guys. They are children. It looks like a fancy dress competition to really bring two different kids and tell them, come on, you're getting married. They don't even know what is their own goal or objective in life. They don't even know what they should do the next minute or moment. But you're considering them to be so big and adult to enter into an official marriage contract, institutional contract, and to do every other single shit out there. Why? This is madness. This is madness to the core. Let me tell you that. Honestly, madness to the core. So now, keeping in mind all these stuff, the rationale or the suggestions given by the Jaya Jaitley committee to increase the age of marriage as per the recommendations of PM in the year 2020 was, it should be increased to 21 years. So, in the year 2020, this was brought in from 18 to 20. Now only the Union Cabinet gave a nod and approval. Okay, let's pass the bill to 21. So, in the year 2020, and as per Jaya Jaitley committee, they said. And what are the reasons you think the Jaya Jaitley committee said? They did a very extensive research study and then only they brought it. They gave very supporting points, stating that if you see, one of the most important reasons why, as per the Jaya Jaitley committee in the year 2020, they said the age should be increased from 18 to 21 as gender neutrality. Automatically, it will enable the man and women to have better equalities, and also it will bring the age of marriage for both women and men at par. Just like the right to vote, you have equality, right to education, right to health, all these things have equality. Na? Let that be for marriage as well. Why not for marriage? Second is impact on health. That is true. Now, early marriages and consequent early pregnancies, you know what happens? Your body is not required biologically. So, it is said that as per the medical perspective, 21 years is considered, or 20 plus is considered to be an ideal age for a girl or a woman to conceive. Her body is all ready. But much before that, 12, 13, 14, you know what happened? Taking into consideration the current living styles and other perspective and change in the environment, it can have a huge impact on the nutritional levels of mother and their children, and the overall health of them, including the mental well-being, can even get affected because they're not that matured enough also to take care of a baby again. And this will have a great impact on the IMR, infant mortality rate, and MMR, maternal mortality rate. These are again the related current affairs. So what is IMR? The number of children who die per 1,000 live birth. The infants, the ones when they are born and they die, per 1,000 live birth. MMR is the pregnant women, either during pregnancy or whether after conceiving. After giving birth. The number of female or the pregnant mothers who die during the pregnancy period or immediately after giving birth, and that is calculated as per 1 lakh live birth. So we need to reduce these rates, right? But then early marriages will definitely lead to this. So we need to reduce it. That is another supportive argument why the age should be increased to 21. So people will say that, ma'am, if that is the case, our great grandmothers and all married that time, they had 10 children also. Now people cannot even think of having, a single child and a lot of health complications. That is because the living style and the environmental changes and the other perspective, those days were different. And the fooding habits, what we have today and those days were totally different. Today it is highly and highly with all the chemicals. Those days, that's not the case. So they were a little active and they used to work very hard. Physical work was more in them, not like us. You got the point. And now in spite of that, they had all such diseases. Let me tell you that. So as the time passes, the environment changes, the ecology changes, the fooding habits changes. So accordingly, we need to develop ourselves in every single way, both physically, economically, socially, and all, right? So as per the Judge Committee, they said, chalo, the impact on health is also to be considered on a holistic perspective. So you need to increase. Next is impact on education. When you get married, people say, chalo, you get married, you can, we will educate you. Why the hell you want to educate us? Are we beggars? Are we getting married to somebody that another man or their family should educate us? Why? If I want to go for education, I will go. That doesn't mean that you marry me, I will educate you. What nonsense is that? If you want to study and if you want to get married and then you're doing with the help of your concerned husband, that is a different scenario. But taking it as a contract is a bullshit stuff, which happens in many families. And then they don't even send them to college, rather they send them to the labor room, saying that, chalo, it's okay, you got married, now you got to give birth. Now, after the child becomes 1 year, you can go for studies. But nobody will be able to, will dare take care of the child like how a mother does. Even if she has support from her own mother or her mother-in-law, things will change and the mental attitude also change. Really. So they never grow. Automatically they lose their interest. Only very, very few percentage, hardly 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 will still strive back and fight back to study. That is different. So majority, if you see, there's a huge impact on education because early marriage is cutting off women from access to education. At the end of the day, they are not educated properly. They are not learning a skill to make them financially independent. So what happens to the livelihood? There is no guarantee for marriage also these days. Let me tell you that. The n number of illegal relationships are on the rise. So you cannot say that a marriage life is going to make them so happy. It's between two individuals. It's not the contract or institution of marriage. It's between two individuals when they want to flaunt their life, when they have a better understanding. Then things go better. Otherwise, all this kind of shits will happen. Your domestic violence will happen, your domestic abuse will happen, your mental peace will go. And it doesn't mean that a man and women have to beat each other. I will not say only a man will do that. Both the genders. That is called as violence. Without even doing anything. Mentally, some people are so smart to make the concerned partner or the opposite person feel that they're good for nothing. That is the biggest, violence that anybody can do to another individual. Like that also for many, many working professionals and women in urban cities, such kind of violence has been, happening. These are something to be brought out, something to be understood. See, you're working, you're educated, but you will be little like a slave the moment you come back from work. Are you a superwoman that, you can do everything at one stroke? But they make you feel you can do this also, but you have to do this also. You go out and work, you bring five money for us, but you do this also. You come and cook, you come and do that, you come and take care of children, you do every other shit. Whether you sleep or you do not sleep, that is not a concern. They will not say it directly to your face, but they'll be so lovable to you that automatically you turn yourself to a machine where you forget to develop your other perspective. You forget to see the inner growth or the self within yourself. You got this is also realistic stuff that is happening. So keeping in mind all these things only, guys, in this Judge Committee, they have increased the age to 21. Did you understand? Yes, Soham, ma'am, even all the governments would fear to bring such laws, but the NTA has the courage. Nothing like that, Soham. It's not NTA or any other DA that has the courage. This is required. This is mandatory. Because see, it's like no government is fearful, be it any government. Be it Congress, be it BJP, be it any other government, nobody is fearful. It's just that the right time requires action. See, demonetization, for example, was something which was put forward way back in the UPA government. The proposal was kept on hitting the bar. But due to the economic situations and other, economic reforms and the other economic conditions, we are not able to implement it. So over the years, the background work was going on. When the government changed, The new government under Modi's instructions, they've implemented in the year 2016. Simple as that. It is not a new concept. It was already there. You understand? Similarly, GST, it is not a new thing. Already it was planned. So now it's all regarding using the opportunity. See, I've always told you this. Opportunity doesn't keep coming to you. When opportunity knocks your door, tuck, tuck, make sure you're grabbing it. Come on, my young girls and boys, be greedy for opportunities. Be greedy for your self growth. Don't be greedy for somebody's growth or money or stuff that is required for wealth. But be greedy for yourself. Automatically, you will grow or develop yourself in such a way, all the power, wealth, money, sab kuch will come to you gradually. This is the notion to be kept in mind. Clear? Now, the next important thing is that as per the data put forward in the National Family Health Survey, so they have really revealed that the child marriage over the years since 2015 to 16, yeah, they have decreased from 27% in the year 15-16, they have reduced to 23 in the year 2019-20. But the government is still been pushing to bring this down. You know why? They want to bring that to 10%, 9%, 5%, because it's not just about one part of our country, India. It's about the entire population, because all this child marriage is still happening and all this kind of other violences to women is still happening. You talk about women empowerment, you talk about that program, this program for the women development, but in reality, what is happening? Even today, tell me, it is very recently that India has been ruled by a sect or group of women, including the finance minister. But where was that before? It's not forget about any governmental affiliations or any governmental stuff. It's a natural question I'm asking. It's the force, the pressure that we are trying to bring it out. You understand? So I would like to mention Madam J. Jayalalitha, the former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu and the Iron Lady of all time. You know, when you get time, just go through biography. Forget about the politics. Forget about that she did that, she did this. See, everybody does bad things. Not everybody is pure soul or saint, which you read in the books. We are all human beings here. We have a good and a bad. You focus on the good thing. Her bad thing, her personal life. You know, you need not sniff your nose in what she is doing in her personal life. She's a human being, so she will do whatever she wants. Why the hell you bother about that and keep flaunting the bad things? But think as a leader what you did for the country. That's more important, you know. So when you go through that, you'll understand the kind of initiative this particular Madam Jayalalitha has done for the people, has done for the children. So that will make you understand all these kind of activities done by so many people like her. One example I gave her today has made us understand, has made us aware we are nowhere less or back to anybody. We can equally stand. This equality is not you are so muscular enough to beat or thrash a man. No. Equality is respecting both the genders. Give respect to the male as well, because when you give respect, they do give respect back, and vice versa. So it's like growing together, understanding the differences, accepting the differences, and encouraging and giving hands to each other to grow. So all these kind of violences, all these kind of stuffs will get eliminated. This is the real meaning of feminism. You understand? Feminism is not like only women are progressing. No, nothing like that. Both the genders have to be, brought out. And now in that, we give a special focus to the girl or the women just because they are literally down. They need to really get a lot of push. That is the sole reason, honestly. This is my point of view with regard to the feminism or the development of genders. I will call it development of genders rather than development of women, because the opposite gender also should be educated how to treat a female, a girl child or a woman in future. You understand? Then only the problem can find a solution. Otherwise, no point. Only when one side is growing and progressing, the other side will still have the same notion about the opposite side. So what sense does it make? You understand? That's the thing. Now, yes, Ashutosh, but in some state in India, they still think girl as a burden, man. So this thought must be changed. You know why they think girl as a burden? Because of the so-called dowry system, because of the so-called burden, and also the kind of rape cases that is increasing every now and then. That's true. That's a reality. So fear is happening whether a girl child is safe even in her own home. Right from the own home, abuse starts in many places. So these kind of news is actually making people more scared. But if you see in India, again, I would like to use the name of Madam Jayalalitha, where when this lady was alive, one of the good things that she did is Chennai is the safest city for a woman. I can even go out in the midnight, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. I won't be raped. I have the confidence. Unless and until I'm going in a very interior place. But in the roadside, that doesn't happen here. Compared to the other states like Delhi or UP, where you can hear more of cases, or let's say any other states, here, come on, that is not there. That's a beautiful thing here. That's something to be really, really appreciated for the state of Tamil Nadu. I don't belong to Tamil Nadu. I'm from Kerala, but this is something which I always, appreciate with regard to the, state of Tamil Nadu, especially the city of Chennai, the metro city. Clear? Did you understand, all of you? Now, having had a great understanding regarding the background data for this particular topic, don't you think so? It's high time that we are going to, talk about the current scenario? Yes. Here we go. Currently, as per the task force is concerned. So now, it is not Jaya Jetli committee. Now, our finance Mr. Nirmala Sitharam. In her budget speech, last year, 2021, she proposed a panel, and that is how this Jaya Jetli panel has come in. Okay? To lower the age of girl entering motherhood. It's not only about marriage. It's about entering motherhood. When they have the sexual intercourse, when they're subjected to such kind of thing at a very, very younger age, they tend to get pregnant, they tend to become a mother. That has to reduce, because only then you'll be able to decrease the MMR rate, that is maternal mortality rate, which I've told you, and to improve the nutritional level. You got the point. But when the decision to appoint a task force was actually announced by a finance minister Nirmala, its terms of reference, it included like, see, it's not just reducing the age of girl entering motherhood. It became a correlation of age of marriage and motherhood. You you increase the age of marriage, then automatically motherhood will also be reduced. You got the whole point. People think that only if you get married, you enter into sexual intercourse or you enter into such kind of relationship with a person. What nonsense and bullshit? Nothing like that. There is nothing as such. See, let me be very open to you people. As an individual, as a youngster, as an economist, or as a woman, let me tell you that there is nothing as such. If you take a statistics, when we did an analysis, forget about marriage. The number of women and men who enter into such kind of sexual interactions or sexual intercourses are the highest even before marriage. In our country, India, I'm talking, which you never even know. So, it could be with the same individual they are dating, or it could be with anybody. See, whatever it is, this is survey detail. So, marriage is not a condition for you to, have all those. So, when you use the contraceptive measures of the pills or other contraceptive protections, motherhood can be prevented. Simple as that. This is the reality that is happening, guys. Please understand. And you'll be knowing it better also. So, some people will be not telling it out under the fear that, no, I don't want to enter into such kind of controversies. It's not a controversial talk. It is a talk which is the sharp truth, which is as sharp as a knife. So why do you want to be blunt enough, and you not even want to tell it out? Rather say it out. You're UPSC aspirants. You got to put your points in a very refined manner, in a very diplomatic manner, and in a very nice manner. What is to be said has to be said at the right time, at the right point, with a better notion. That's the whole logic. That's what I keep doing. Other people say, okay, how could she say that? So what? As if you don't do that at any point of time. Simple. Who are you to decide what I should do or what I shouldn't do is something which everybody will think. You understand? So when somebody comes and asks me something, I used to say, Chalo, I accept your opinions, all this stuff, but are you paying my bills? Then why the hell do you want to even talk? So these kind of things really come. You understand? So now you need to understand from every single notions, the way a person is brought up, the way a person's conception is. But that doesn't mean that you don't abide by your religion, you don't abide by your moralities, you don't abide by your ethics. We do abide the religion, the morality, the ethics, every single stuff out there, but you have your own personality. You have to embrace all these together and make a decision for your own. You understand? That is how it should be in this 21st century, guys. Anyways. Yes, Rishabh, absolutely. In India, to do things are hard, but to say on it's very hard. But I said, I don't feel it is hard, Rishabh. See, when you are my students, please understand something. You can expect such kind of statements and such kind of very open, stuffs from me as well, because that is a reality. I will say, no matter if it is a political stuff or religious stuff or fundamental stuff, whatever, the reality is reality. How many people's mouth you'll shut? You'll try to close it. There is a limit to it. At least one person should bring it out, or at least somebody should say it out. It's like everybody knows, but you keep it to yourself. What will the other person think? Nothing like that. Let them think. That's what I asked you. I asked you, are the other person paying your bill? No, right? You are only paying the bills of your life. You are eating with your own hand and swallowing with your own throat, not with somebody else. Simple logic. That's it. Anyways, back to class. So now this is the whole point. So now just for reducing the age of entering motherhood, this was planned by the finance minister Nirmala, but then automatically it turned out to be the correlation between the age of marriage and the motherhood, keeping in mind the health and the nutritional status of both the mothers and the infants or the children. Why? Just because they want to reduce something called as IMR, infant mortality rate, and MMR, maternal mortality rate. Clear? Yes, Adarsh? Now, here we go. This is very, very important. What are the recommendations of this particular committee, guys? The new recommendations and what are the reasons? Come on. Forget about Jai Jetli committee. That is over. Now, the new committee recommendations again. Of course, the age of marriage, the legal age, should be 21. It's just marriage, guys, but they're not stopping you from having any sort of sexual interactions. You got the point. If you want to do, go and do. Who is stopping you from not doing it? You have your ethics, you have your values. You know what to do, when to do, how to do. We can guide you, but if you still want to do it, come on. It's your choice. But falling into a trap of abuse, violence, rape, sexual harassment, that is different. That is not to be accepted. Even before the, marriageable age, or let's say even before the, even without the consent of the person. Even after marriage, there are many husbands who take a wife as a cake of the day, as a granted stuff. You need to ask a woman a permission if you really want to touch her. Without the consent, you go and touch her and say, come on, she's my wife, I can do anything with her. What the hell? That is the biggest domestic, violence that they do actually, the abuse they do. And they're so silent because of traditional customs and stuff. Raise your voice and say no to anybody when it is a time for no. Even if it is your own parents, if you want to say no, Papa, Mama, listen, I think I should say no. Doesn't mean you have to be harsh. Please understand my scenario and please advise me the best. This is a beautiful way you can tell it to your parents because they will start thinking for you in that way. If you say no, no, no like that, not only your parents, nobody's going to accept you. And this is the biggest quality a UPSC CSE aspirant should exercise. Because you got to lead the country. You got to convince the politicians, the public, the other bureaucrats, and then take a policy, a decision. So now multiple things have to be handled. So you are not just learning some subjects and becoming officers. You are actually, reframing yourself. You're kind of having a revolutionary thought out there. That's more important. Yes, Varsha, thank you so much, ma'am. It's a great start of the day. Wow, that's great to know, Varsha, that a great start has happened with me. Yes, Vijay. Yes, Rishabh, exactly. 100% great thinking. Thank you for that. Yes, Ashtosh, the will of women should be respected. That people forget, Ashtosh. That is the problem. Yes, Tejash. Ma'am, but is it useful increasing in age? There's already 18-year limit, but child marriage is reality. So new increase will not gonna do any major effect, I think. So I will tell you, Tejash, for the question that you asked. You said about new age increase now. When this comes, at least majority of the population, the females, will start talking for themselves, keeping the law in mind. I'll tell you the pros and cons, so you'll understand it better. You understand? So now, in the recommendations of this 21 years of age, the government said they should look into increasing access to schools and college for girls. The enrollment, some called as GER, gross enrollment ratio, guys, is the highest, but the dropout, the school or the college dropout is the highest. And the female literacy rate is also less compared to male literacy rate. Now, if you take the overall literacy rate, the country India is only in the average scenario of 74 to 75%. Whereas there is an exception for the state of Kerala where more than 90% literacy rate is there. And for the females, it is 92.5%, which means it is the highest there. That's an exception. Even that is in par with global or international standard. But then that's not the case for the entire country, India. India consists of so many other states and UTs, right? So now such kind of, recommendations of the committee, which has been put forward with regard to the legal age of increasing the marriage ages, you have to look into increasing access to schools and college for girls, including their transportation to these institutes from far-flung areas. What they are trying to tell you out of this particular topic is that in the remote and rural area also, once a girl attains puberty, because of lack of proper infrastructure facilities, even in the government or the free school education that they have been given, they don't go because they feel embarrassed. Second thing is they may have to walk 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers to reach the school. It becomes very difficult for them. Third important point, that is again mentally preventing them from going to the schools by themselves itself. So what happens? You need to make sure that there's a proper transportation to these institutes also from the far or the remote areas for these girls to access with the better infrastructure facilities, with proper toilets and other sanitation and hygiene facilities. Clear? That is very, very important. Only then, they have the interest of getting more and more education. So at least either when they're doing their degree or at least completion of degree, they are in a mindset of getting married. That interest will pop up in them. Otherwise, when no education, nothing, they tend to listen to others. Why are you studying? Endina padikkinne. In Malayalam, you say, Endina padikkinne. In Tamil, you say, Nee ella edukku padikkira. In Hindi, I don't know what you say. Matlab, what do you say that in Hindi? That's a slang, na? Matlab, क्यों पढ़ती है, मतलब why do you really want to study? Such kind of things you will, what is that is true, why would I do that, rather I'm good at something else. People start thinking like that, or let's say girls start thinking like that. This thought is instilled into their brain. That's very bad, that's the whole point. So to change that only, they said this should be done. Clear? Yes, Adarsh? I remember Acha from Kerala, I remember you. Now, the growing integration of the economy and higher school enrollments, they are contributing to increase in the median age for marriage. Very true, guys. Very true. Yes, because we are kind of, yes, Teja, we are kind of, growing. There is no doubt in that. And now the median age has increased. If you see in the year 2001, okay, for men it was 22.6, and in the year 2000 it was 23.5. But women 18 and 19. Yeah, we are kind of, at least after the minimum age as per the current rule. Now the bill has been proposed and cabinet has got a nod or a yes to it. But as per the existing, marriage eligible age, yeah, that was a positive trend was being followed, at least to certain extent. Yes, what is it, Varsha? Yes, ma'am, khana hi to banana hai. Ha, khana hi to banana na 2 to 3 on your head I'll give. To those people who say that. don't increase that. See, you won't believe who said women has to be in the kitchen. You won't believe my dad cooks the best food. He's not a woman, he's a man. And you can never see him doing that. Whenever he gets time, he does that. My uncles does that. My mother's brother does it. My own brother, when he was there, such a small child, a beautiful child of 18 years, he used to do that. He used to learn that from me. Let me make a tea for you. Believe me, a wonderful tea and coffee he used to make for me, believe me. A small child of 18 years. He used to do since he was 14, 13, 14 also. My tutu really used to do that. So, we never forced them to do. They themselves does it. So now they slowly learn it. Like and if you see, go to the big hotels, it's not the women who cook, it's the male who cooks. They're the biggest chef out there. So why in homes when you get married you say that women is the kitchen staff? Cooking is what for you to eat. If you're hungry, you need to eat something. So be it man or women, to make a basic stuff to fill your stomach. It's nothing like only women should do bullshit. It depends upon the interest of the people here. I don't know when people will grow and understand this reality. Really, you should know to help yourself. Then you cannot call yourself a man. When you cannot even help your own self, how can you call yourself a man or a woman? Both. I consider such people to be of no use. When you cannot help your own self with even a cup of tea or a coffee, saying, some people say, no, I don't even go to kitchen. I don't even know to make hot water. My mother didn't even, allow me to do that. Bullshit. Nicely to drink, nicely to eat, to sleep, and to do every other activity. Then why the shit you do not know this? Is that an excuse? Joke of the day. Yes, Rishabh, Zomato is there. Zomato, Swiggy also, to eat nicely. You know to say if it is sweet. You know to say it is salty. You know to say it is bitter or it is spicy. So you should know what is put in that also. Otherwise, there is no point at all. Anyways, back to class. Yes, Tejesh, one more thinking is there. A high educated girl will awarded by boys' family. So she should not study higher. Such reasons are also given by relatives to not to go for higher learning of girls. That is absolutely a truth, Tejesh. See, Tejesh is telling that higher learning will put them down. That is why, because when you are educated, it's not just the textbook learning. Some people, in spite of them having a textbook learning also, they are dumb. For the sake of learning, they study. But some people, when they get educated, forget about textbook knowledge. They put it practically. They start thinking why? And they start questioning. So they don't want women to question. So they want somebody who's having a zealed mouth. And they call that to be the real traditional conventional women or girl out there. If you raise your voice, you are a good for nothing person there. You are a too much talkative person. Not forget about talkative, too much a filthy person. They tell you like, you do not know to respect your sasus and in-laws and sab kuch like that. What nonsense? When you say what you want to say, does that mean that you're not respecting people? I didn't get it. Really, this happens. Many of my friends who got married, some of them are divorced just because they're early marriage. But then the ones who got married in the right age, after 25 plus and all, believe me, at least 25 plus, they're leading a very happy life. I can see they have problems, but they manage among themselves. They don't even involve or bring family. The maturity level is more for them. And the number of divorce cases are less when you get married at a later age. So even for giving birth also. For example, if you take a study, the women who used to give birth 20 years before and in 20 years, they're more prone to sickness as per the current data. I'm talking about the science perspective. And the women who give birth in their 30 or have their first child, the second child in 30, 34, 35 and all, there are more chances for them to get a twins. The hormonal level is even more higher. the fertility will reduce, that is there. But if you maintain yourself properly, you can. Okay. And also you'll be free of all the sickness, and you will be able to have very good savings, and you're financially independent. You can be a very good parent. The parenting will be the great, because you're a matured individual. You know to take care of your child properly, because you yourself is not a child anymore. You got the point? And you can manage things properly. So that is the whole logic out there, guys. So this particular topic is not just about the marriageable age of women. I told you multiple factors, multiple realistic factors will be discussed in the session. That's what we do now, and I'm very happy that the questions that you shoot out to me and the discussions we have is really worth it. Believe me. Anyways, now the next important recommendations of the committee is that skill and business training has also been recommended. And in school, there should be sex education. Very true. See, when I was a school girl, I never had this. But then during my 11th and 12th, when we were passing out, yeah, we had this. Sex, but not complete sex education, but that was regarding the menstruation cycle and how to protect yourself from that and stuff like that. Now, sex education is very important. They should know. Otherwise, when a man and a woman is sitting, or a girl and a boy sitting, they will have every sort of feeling. That is true. And you should know what is right, what is not right. Some children, when they do not even know what is that. Actually, it should happen in your home itself. But parents feel so shy to even talk to their children about sex, or to talk to them. This is the bodily changes that you have from a teenager to this particular age. So you should be careful. You should be careful like this. So you should not do this. You should not do that. It's very important. If the parents or mothers cannot do that, at least the elder siblings can do. Sister means elder sister. Brother means elder brother. Something like that. Yes, Varsha, today's class is like a motivation for me as a girl. You boost me. Oh, kya baat. It's so sweet of you. That's so nice to know. It should be. More than motivation, these are realities. So as a female or as a woman, I can really talk more on this. But as a teacher, I have to be balanced in both the perspective, pros and cons. But I'm trying to make you understand without being influential, without being detrimental of one-sided alone. Both sides are equally there. Okay. Now, this is kind of very important, guys. Okay. Now, what was the reason or the rationale, guys, behind this proposal? Simply, government is not going to ask Jaya Jetli committee to put recommendations. Nirmala Sitharam will not do simply all these things, right? Now, what is the rationale or the reason behind? The committee has said the recommendation is not based on rationale of population control. That is, India's TFR, called as total fertility rate, that is already decreasing. Please note it. But with more of all the women's empowerment and gender parity and all. Clear? So this has to be taken into consideration. So now, India's total fertility rate is decreasing. But what is happening? The empowerment of women and gender parity is also happening. So the committee said access to education livelihood must be increased or enhanced simultaneously. Only then the law can be effective. You got the point. That is the reason why they are so focused on 18 to 21. And I told you also there are many countries around the world, Canada, UK, Australia, Japan, China, all these who even have an age of marriage lesser than our minimum marriage age, like 16, 14, and even Saudi, and if you see, it is 12. Sudan also it's 12, 14. So the global scenario is like that, but in that India is far better. But you need to understand that the way Indian parenting is done and the way UK or a Western parenting is done is different. They are independent the moment they become teenagers, but not like that here. Even a 12-year-old child in India is still a baby. But over there, hey, go out and find a work for yourself. Be independent, do your stuff, have your own thought. So they are trained like that. That training is not happening here. That is why they can make that age. That is, they can get married or live with anybody without parents' consent is the whole idea. Over if you do that now, 1, 2, 3, left, right, you'll be killed by the opposite community or the people with whom you elope. In India, that is still happening. Even intercaste marriages are not accepted widely by everybody. Or being a Hindu, one higher caste and a lower caste marriage is not accepted. Forget about Hindu, Muslim, or Hindu, Christian, or Muslim, Christian, whatever. Within one religion, that is not accepted. Caste issue, not religion issue. So just think about the other perspective. So we have so many, stuffs like that. Clear? Yes, Rishabh, I personally feel, ma'am, even women or girl also need to change their mindset. This waiting for someone to come and motivate or give knowledge cannot be acceptable in 21st century. Very true, Rishabh. That is what I told you in the beginning of the class. Don't be a woman that needs a man, but be a woman that a man needs, and vice versa. For the man also, you can say like that. Don't be a man that a woman needs, but be a man. Sorry, don't be a man that need a woman, but be a man. Women needs both the genders. I can say not only for women. I'll say for both the genders. See, how can I be so unequal in saying that statement? So let's put both the genders and talk it out like that. You got the point. Anyways. Now, here we go. This is the most interesting part of this particular, session, the criticism. This is something which we want to know, why people are criticizing. If you see a lot of women rights activists, okay, they oppose the suggestion and they cited evidence. They even said, come on, as per the researches, as per the evidences, come on, to show that such a kind of move of increasing the marriageable age, the legal marriageable age of women from 18 to 21, it could be used to incarcerate young adults marrying without parents' consent. If you do that, they say they will even do this. Okay, parents' consent you're talking, but that only in the context of a country, India. Just think about the Western countries. It is permissible there. You talk about westernization, you talk about development. If that is happening there, why not here? I mean, why do you really want to think like that? They say that young adults will start marrying without parents' consent. That is because the way you brought them up is like that. It's not like nobody is going against the parents. Even if you bring up your child very well also, if the child wants something, if they're so adamant, they are still eloping. Does it mean they're not loving loving their parents? No. That is the mental state what they are put up in. If they're highly educated or if they're kind of having a better awareness, they'll start thinking about their social image. Forget about the parents or society. About their own social image, what will happen to them if they take a decision like this? Eloping and running and marrying or doing some other shits. You understand? They'll start thinking. So the thought process should come when the factual education has been instilled. When that is not properly there, really all this kind of shit happens. Clear? This is the kind of suggestion what I can give to this criticism. Next is another people, the women right activists and all, they are saying that this move of increasing the age, marriageable age, would even lead to criminalization. Look at this point, how beautifully they have framed it here. So smart. Now see, criminalization of a large number of marriages that will take place once the law comes into effect. How can you say criminalization? But they have framed it like that with evidences, saying that the financial independency, the lack of stuff, the security issues due to which we need to do this. Is that the reason in this 21st century? We are talking about something that is in the 19th or 18th or 20th century, but not something to fit enough in the 21st century. Don't you think so? Yes. And now, talking about India and the marriageable age. This is very interesting. This is again a background data for you. Currently, we have some laws. For the Hindus, there is something called as the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955. And according to the Hindus, 18 years is the minimum age of marriage for the bride, and for the groom, that is a boy, it is 21. In Muslim also, it is not 18 and 20. In Islam, in my religion, it is like the marriage of a minor who has attained puberty is considered valid. And they say that is as per the Islamic law and textbook bullshit. Let me tell you that. Okay. As per the Quranic verses or the Islamic thing, there is nothing like, nowhere they have said that when a girl attains puberty, you should be immediately getting her married. No. If she has a consent, you get her married. Otherwise, nobody can do it by force. But the fundamentalist, I repeat, the fundamentalist people has changed the verses of Quran and changed the verse of the Holy Book and said like that. When in reality, Islam is a beautiful religion which gives 101% importance to women empowerment. If you see the story of Khadija Begum, okay, the first, the wife of Prophet, she was a 40-year-old woman, an entrepreneur, who went and married the Prophet that before the Prophet Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. She married him. So she was elder woman. You understand? So she was not 12 years and 20 or even 20 years. So now it's all, so you need to understand that. And there is, I don't know why the people, consider that women is at the, somebody to be overruled or somebody to be, put down. No, Islam religion does that. It is the fundamentalist people who does that. And they say minor who's attained puberty can do that. Bullshit. Even once I was a small little girl, for God's sake, my family is very far forward. But my parents are good. But I do have relatives out there, my father's family and all, where not everybody, some people. Oh, she has attained puberty. One of my cousins, she was almost getting married at the age of, 17 and 18. I was like, oh my goodness, what the hell? I'm just a 12th standard girl. Some people came to see me and it was so comical that I didn't know what to say. You know what, the man came, and I have said this in my special class. The boy came like this and sat like this, and he said, yeah, okay, sure, we'll make her study. She want to go for degree? Okay, I was a topper and all that. I said, no, we will make her study. Don't worry and all. Who the hell are you to first of all make me study? Are you my dad or mom? This proposal was brought by my father's sister because her daughter was getting married. So she couldn't tolerate that I am studying. Okay. So she brought. My dad and mom kept quiet. They didn't want to have fight in the family. So they were like, chalo, it's okay. Let us They told me like, same, Nisha, don't worry. You just simply stand. You just come, stand, and just, if they come, I said, is it really required? You want me to dress? I said, I will not dress. Whatever costume I'm wearing at home, even if like a beggar also, I don't care. If anybody comes, this is how I am at my home. I'm not planned enough for a engagement or that bridegroom come meeting. No, they were like, so they couldn't force me much. I was wearing a very normal pant and a normal t-shirt. And in fact, I was looking like a beggar also in that, okay, with no earrings. And intentionally, I did that also. I'm like this. If you want, you see. If you don't want, you don't see. I don't care. Okay. And now this man is coming. He's a elder also. That when I was 17, this boy would have been 25, 26 at least. I think so, 26 or something. Anyway, he was 26. I'm so sure in that. 25, 26. I was just 17 year. And this boy and the father, okay, his father didn't say anything. They said, how much you're giving? How you see that person is telling, looking at me, okay, it's okay. The girl is a little tired. So maybe at home she dresses like this. It's okay. We are okay with it. I said, if you're okay or not okay, uncle, what I should do for it? I asked him. See, I was a small girl and I never knew things. So my dad looked at me. He showed eyes to me, don't talk. But I really did not, understand that. I said, if whether you like or do not like how I am dressing, did you buy and give me dress? Why? What does it concern you, uncle? I asked. He looked at me. She talks a lot. No issues. When she comes to her home, she'll be fine. And I asked him, why would I come to your home, uncle? Is there any party happening there? Is there some function? Tell me, I'll come to have good paratha and beef, I said. I mean, he was like laughing. She's a humorous. Then he said, oh, she's a humorous girl. I said, oh, thank you, uncle, for that. His boy was sitting and looking. His mother was also there. And nicely they were looking, okay, how much you will give? My dad didn't say anything. My dad said, no, that not we'll discuss later. Nothing as such. You just want to come and see. And because of the pressures and other stuff, we just, my sister said, and that's the thing. We are not planning as, no, don't tell like that. They convinced my father saying that you have to get married, you have to do that, you have to do this. Oh, really? I was so pissed off. This boy said he wants to talk to me personally. I said, why personally? Are you scared to talk in front of others? I asked him. He was like, why is this girl talking like this? I said, I didn't say anything bad. My dad is not telling me not to talk. Then who are you to tell me not to talk? I asked. Without even knowing my name properly, the spelling of my name properly, without even knowing what I'm doing, what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, what I do in the morning, you are just coming one day, just 5 minutes of meeting, you're telling this girl is talking like this. Who the hell are you to make a decision on me? So, such a kind of person you are. He was like, oh my goodness, what is she talking? She has too much of big tongue. I said, thank you. मैं बोला मतलब thank you. Still he looked. Then I said, hey, listen, I am not here for a sale. Did you see any board in my home? I said, Papa, Mama, I'm sorry to say this at this age. Listen, I am not here for a sale and not anybody in my home is out there. Okay, you came, we respected you, we hosted you. Thank you. But you cannot force me. And I will file a complaint that you are doing malpractices. You are kind of getting more dowry, you are bargaining. He was like, who taught you all this? Which school you are studying? मैं बोला, I am studying in Mount Carmel Convent. Because you're studying in a Christian school, it is like this. You should have put your daughter in Muslim school. I said nothing like that. I said, your son is not educated. Your son requires more of, training. Send them to my home. My dad will train him better, I said. They were so like, it's a very bad, dirty stuff that happened. But after like around 4-5 years, when I finished my degree and I was doing my master's through Facebook, this boy texted, hi, how are you? You remember me? He got married and all. Okay, that's a very beautiful thing. He said, I really appreciate you for what you are today. And I still remember that particular day. I used to tell my wife about you. And don't worry, I didn't get married to a small girl. I got married to somebody who's of more or less of my age. And we are very happy. I said, good. That's good for you and for her and for me also, I said. But there is no grudge. But at that point of time, what I'm trying to tell you people is this is how it goes. This happened in my life. So because I was brought up in such a kind of scenario, I had the voice to talk out. But if you see my own cousin, she's married to them 2 babies who are studying in 5th class and 6th class of my age. That's so pathetic, yeah. 12 years and 10 years. Absolutely bullshit of this age for her to have all those. So she has lost herself. So that is the thing. In my own family, it has happened. So we know the pain of it. Hadn't I not been educated, or let's say hadn't I been got married, I would not have been able to take a class for you like this. A good resource for the country, India, let's say a good teacher for UPSC would have been lost. Really, I consider myself to be like that. I'm not joking. So this is what I thought. Simple. Anyways, these are very, very secret things. Don't tell anyone now. Back to class. Okay. So these are the reasons, guys. If you see in Hindu, this is a stuff. In Islam, this is a kind of stuff. And if you see, there is something called a Special Marriage Act. Take care of 1954. And there is also a Prohibition of Child Marriage Act of 2006. In that also they say 18 and 21 as a minimum age of consent for marriage of women and men respectively. But in spite of all this, we are going to make it 21 for Hindu, Muslim or special marriage or whatever it is. Clear? Now, if you see India's efforts for reducing gender gap, don't you think so that is quite important, my young officers? Yes, indeed, very important. Because if you see, India had ratified the convention with regard to elimination of all form of discrimination against women way back in the year 93. And if you see, as per Article 16 of this particular convention, okay, strictly they are against or they're forbidding the marriage of children called as child marriage. And they're asking the government as well, come on, you have to identify and enforce the minimum marriage age for women. Otherwise, this is going to be a huge problem which will prevent our country, India, from growing to greater heights. And because of that, since 1998, during the new economic reforms period of LPG, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization era, along with the reforms in education, banking, service, agriculture, sub kuch, in women perspective also. India has had national legislation exclusively in human rights protection. Along with that, they said it is also a kind of protection of human rights as per the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Don't you think so? Yes, it is. So these are some of the important things to understand. Now, what is the reason behind minimum age? Of course, to outlaw the child marriage, one single point, and prevent the abuse of minor. Abuse of minor is happening, guys. Now, early pregnancy, malnutrition, violence, as I told you, not only physical, mental, emotional, they are the most dangerous weapons, okay? We have to prevent children from subjected to all those, not only between husband and wife, even between the family members, the elders. So, early pregnancy is always associated with increased child mortality rates and affects the health of mother. Clear? So, these are another reasons. Now, to put in points, the arguments for increasing legal marriageable age, protection of basic right, that is true, guys, because that will lead to few, more legislative framework. So you'll be able to provide a very comprehensive right-based framework for the, Adi Avadi. Clear? So this is very, very important. So protection of women or girls against early and child marriage is very, very important. It's a basic right. That is one thing. Then gender parity. And now if you see, there is section 2 of the Special Marriage Act, and they are declaring the legal marriageable age as 18 for women and men 21. Now, as I told you, this difference is bullshit, blunder, rubbish, because it doesn't seem to have any justifiable logic. As I told you in the beginning of the class, the age of voting can be equal for men and women. The age to consensually, willfully, and validly enter into a contract is the same for men and women. Then why not still, why don't we actually instill equality in the age requirements of marriage? Come on, look at this point. This is something very, very important. This is something you can use even the UPSC mains answer writing to give you brilliant marks. This is happening, yeah, then why not the other? Even for the interview paneling question also, if such kind of questions come, please put it beautifully like this. You are not questioning the government, you're not questioning anybody else. Rather, you're putting it beautifully the situation of your country, India, and comparing with the remaining other current scenarios. So don't you think so? This is some kind of inequality or partiality? Yes. You got the point. Now, the next reason is equal laws emanate equality. That is, when there is equality, when they come from equal laws and social transformation, they are quite important. Okay. And now when there is a change in a law, I can tell you that law will more likely bring changes in social perceptions in all the progressive society. If I am coming and saying maybe 10 families or 20 families will listen, okay, let's not do this, let's educate the girl children and all. And we have programs, policies, awareness, everything. But still, are people stopping themselves from getting their children married before the age of 18 or even between 18 to 20, 21 or 20? No, they're not doing it. So when a law is coming, it is a rule. So you got to expect few changes. That is something to be understood. That is why this is brought in. Next is facilitating women empowerment. Now, you can see more enrollment of the female students in the higher educations. They go for primary education, as I told you, because of puberty, they get dropped out. But we need higher and the future education, secondary and higher educations to enroll up better for their future. So such kind of stuff will enable them to have better access to education. And if you see so many schemes like Ujjwala scheme, Mudra Yojana and Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, the so-called financial inclusion scheme and all, believe me, in all these schemes put forward by government, they are not directly related to women, but they have shown that indirectly or let's say in the most possible manner, women as the largest section of beneficiaries of such government scheme. So what are they trying to do through these particular schemes? If you see, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is for opening bank accounts, which is under the biggest objective of financial inclusion for the government of India, which again comes under digitalization, which is leading to the growth and development of our country, especially for rural area farmers and all. There also, women is the largest beneficiary. Ujjwala scheme, the supply of LPG connections or gases. Under the women's name, it has been taken. So women becomes an important criteria there. They are not treated like a waste paper. Rather, their importance is understood in the family because they keep them as a head in the ration cards and stuffs like that. Clear? And thus, I can tell you that this empowerment of women will get a further fill-up with equality in marriages. They are the arguments in favor of this topic. But come on, guys, just like a coin is having a darker and a lighter side, so does this topic as well, as I told you. The arguments against. Now, I'm going to talk to you regarding the arguments against increasing legal marriageable age. Point number 1. Unlikely to benefit financially dependent women. See, they're saying that this objective goals and all looks very good on paper. Merely raising the age of marriage without creating social awareness, without improving access to healthcare. Do you think it really benefits the community itself? See, young women who are not yet financially independent, who are not even able to exercise their rights and freedom, who are still under the yoke of the family societal pressures, it's not going to benefit them, they're saying. So what they should do? Point number 1, if this is the case, along with this marriageable age, okay, as of now, anyway, we are, focusing on schemes of improving, access to better healthcare and also creating better social awareness for education, stuff like that. Keep triggering or aggravating them more. So such kind of laws, okay, can be applicable. Otherwise, still criticisms like this will happen. See, to make them financially independent only, we do this. But people are saying that they are doing it financially, dependent women, it will not benefit them. Yes, Rishabh, ma'am, talking with regard to similar topic, according to you, shutting polygamy has what effect as per your view? See, polygamy, I'll tell you about it. After finishing this, I'll tell you. That I will tell you why people keep doing that. That's a very interesting story. Remind me, Rishabh, I'll tell you. So now the next argument against that you shouldn't raise the legal age of marriages, high prevalence of child marriage despite stringent laws. That is the truth, guys. See, we have lot of rules saying that child marriage is a social evil, such a shame it is for our society and all this stuff. And the law is also prohibiting marriage below the age of 18 in our country, India, since 1900s. But still you can see the persistence or existence of child marriage virtually. And that was undeterred until 2005, when almost half of the women aged 20 to 24, they got married below the illegal minimum age. So now, even in spite of laws, in spite of rules, regulations, this is still happening. So what is the point? That is the next question to be understood. And next is no criminal records for early marriage. Yeah, this is very interesting. This is a beautiful way of, misinterpreting it, I'll tell you. Why? Because when you are married at a very, very small age, you do not know what to do. You're not educated much. Even if you know also, you don't have the guts to go and complain or register a complaint. You are brought up in that framework that you are under somebody. You are supposed to do this or do that. You got the point. So there is no official recordical documentation. So that is again a disadvantage. So they are taking it as an advantage, saying that that if you are increasing the age of marriage, there is no point, because if you see early marriage, there is no criminal records. Even though more than 1 in 5 marriages took place below 18, hardly any violations of act appear in the criminal records of the country. How brilliantly they have misinterpreted bullshit point it is. Because of this, they're not able to come out. That's a reality. But I'm showing you the points also. Next is no assurance for eliminating child marriage. That is, see, the magnitude of population of marriageable age, okay, who will be affected is immense. We all know that, because around 60% of people, they marry before 21. Now, the incapability of eliminating such marriage before 18, there is no evidence also that this would be eliminated by increasing the age to 21. That is a realistical point, guys. This is something to be understood. There is no assurance. Can you really eliminate child marriage? Even if you increase the age to 21, do you think people will stop getting married before 18 or 21? In spite of keeping it to 18, also people are in Rajasthan and all, yes, as Ashutosh said, yeah, in Rajasthan and all, you can see child marriage happening. So just because making it 21, will that make a sense is a question mark. But it will make a sense if it is, come on, hitting the bar with extra strong and strict punishments of putting you up in jail with the very, very severe measures, fines and stuff. The moment they find, including the boy, the girl, and the entire family should be put in. If rules like that come, no way to escape. They'll be very scared. Clear? But this is the point. The next one, misuse of laws by parents. That is, some of the women rights activists, they point out that parents often use this act to punish their daughters For example, some daughters who want to marry against their wishes, or they want to run away or do elope kind of marriage to evade or escape all the forced marriages or marry somebody whom they don't like, or when they want to escape domestic abuse and lack of education facilities. Come on, they do that. But sometimes, parents will even use this act to punish their daughters also. So hence, within a patriarchal setting, it is more likely that change in age limit will increase parents' authority over young adults. That is true. But then see, when you are increasing, growing up, increasing age, you are also getting better access to educations, and you are growing up. So your voice will also increase. It's not like your voice will not raise. Raising a voice is not shouting at each other. It's saying valid points when and where it is required. Clear? Now, what you can do? Now I have taught you the pros, the cons, and subcuts like that. So it's a 1 hour class, but since the discussion was quite interesting, we went up to 1.5 hours, guys. Anyways, that's okay. The way forward or the recommendation suggestions which I will put forward is that ensuring objective equality. See, any justification you give, it could be biological justification, social or data or research based. I can tell you that one cannot justify the inequality in age between men and women to enter into a valid marriage. Don't you think so? That is a truth. That is a truth, actually. It's all about equality. And now if you see in the year 1954, a country, India, we decided, okay, with the Special Marriage Act, age must be one of the most basic condition of a valid marriage. The only flaw, or let's say the only point, the disadvantage was not having equality in this regard. There should be marriageable age, but where is equality? 1821, bullshit. But for every other right, you have 1818 or 2020. But why not for this? That is, see, though the marriageable age is put up, there was no equality in fixing the age, which is now being corrected. I repeat, which is now being corrected by making few changes or by amending the PCMA Act, that is Prohibition of Child Marriage Act of 2006. Now it is difficult for people to accept it. Not for everybody, for some population. Next is the next way forward is empowering disadvantaged or vulnerable or the most pathetic women out there. Now, what is required, guys, to empower such disadvantaged or vulnerable women? To respect their right, especially the reproductive rights, when they want to do sex, when they want to give birth, what is the fertility rate? It's all their personal choice. You cannot force somebody to get married and give birth even if they do not want to. I know so many cases where they are forced to do things and they end up becoming mothers. They cannot throw their child because see, that emotional attachment will be there, and they end up their life like that. And what happens to their children? They also will never grow. Because if the mother is strong enough and if she is bold enough to take an action only, she can protect her daughter also. Otherwise, the same old stuff will happen to her as well, except in few cases. So now, to empower the disadvantaged women, guys, especially with regard to the reproductive rights and in ensuring more investments in reversing the so-called fundamental structural disadvantage that many women, who marry early phase, that can be brought down. And the government must invest far more and they should focus more on addressing the issues of equity, guys. That is, all these vulnerable or disadvantaged women, they have to get proper opportunities and they should be able to complete the education. And they should be given proper career counseling and encourage skilling and job placement. They should get employment also. Its input is education, output is employment, which is equal to better living standard, better empowerment for the growth and development of our country, India, for the progressive nature. That has to happen. Clear? So, but if you see an employment perspective, unemployment is a very big issue because of the rising population. So now when people are educated, they'll stop giving birth to 4, 5, 6 children, guys. They'll give only to 2 or 3 maximum, or 2, I can tell you. Clear? And now the safety issue. Come on, another way forward suggestion is that the safety issue also need to be addressed in public places, including public transportation. That's very safe. Yesterday I saw a video, okay, of a school girl. I was preparing this topic and then I saw a video where as two schoolgirls are standing in the common bus. The bus is shaking like this. So two boys are sitting in the seat. Very recently, I think it happened in Jharkhand, Rajasthan. I'm not sure. They were holding on the seat of the men. They are holding her like this. They are holding her like this. They're trying to catch them. They're going to fall on their self. They were moving and standing. And the girl got so irritated. Fatafat onto his head, she gave one. And he was like, what are you doing for what you did? That video is like that. And in that video, it is written that how long you'll tolerate. See, safety doesn't mean that somebody will come and rape you. No, even somebody looking you in a bad way, the eye contact in a bad sexual way is also a crime. Is also bad. It's not a crime. It's also a bad thing. It's also not to be tolerated. That is all a kind of some kind of bad stuff only. No doubt in that. So now They need not come and rape you. But all this kind of touching, witching, kagena stuff is also with regard to safety only. Because in public transportation, this happens. This has to change. And thus, the behavioral change in parents is also very, very important. In spite of being educated, some parents are still the worst. I don't know. They are worried about the safety. They say, you can see in UP this is happening, in Andhra this is happening, in Maharashtra this is happening. I am worried about my child. Even 2-year-old baby child is being raped. Can you believe? So, what is there in that small child for you to rape a child? Nothing is there. She will be just the size of your hand. You got to cherish that beautiful flower, not to crush and destroy them. But people does that. So now, because of all this, parents are scared. That is there. I agree to that. But whatever, the recommendation is that there should be behavioral change in parents. That's very important because ultimately, that is making marriage real decisions for a majority of women. Because they only do that. You marry him, you marry him, you marry that, you do this. Some people emotionally, I'm very sick. We may pass away now. I'm highly diabetic. I'm having this cancer. I'm having that, this, etc. Okay, you lived your life, you got this, we are truly sad, I'm truly sorry for it. But before the age of marriage, because of all these pressures and blackmailings, if you really do that, tomorrow when your mother or father is not there, do you have any guarantee that this particular person whom they got you married will take care of you? You will have a very happy life? No. That becomes a point of concern. So you should start thinking for yourself. And thus, as Ashutosh said in the class, yes, awareness is very important. Yes, so increasing awareness is very, very important. And this is a good but not an easy thing to achieve. Because to take steps to counsel girls on early pregnancies and provide them with a network to improve their health is very, very important. That's why it said sex education should be good in schools. So automatically early pregnancies, the health complications, the nutritional perspective, everything comes under that. And thus the focus must be on creating social awareness about the women's sexual and reproductive health and their rights, and making sure that the girls are not getting dropped out of their schools or college so then education is not at stake. Clear? So that's it, my young officers. We are done for the day. That was indeed a brilliant session, a 1 hour class, but because of discussions of multiple dimensions of connecting it with various perspectives, we got to really exceed it. But anyways, I hope you really enjoyed the class. Thank you so much, and you can now shoot out your questions. And by the way, did you really enjoy this class? Quick, yes or no? Looking at my own picture, why did ma'am give us this picture? Just to show you that I don't not only dress up as a married girl for my wedding, even before that also I can get ready and take a photo also. No problem in that. Anyways, yes, Tejas, the class went to 1.45 minutes. I know that 1 hour, 45 minutes. Because see, the topic was like that. And yes, don't forget to like the video. And most importantly, once the live streaming is done, after 1 hour, come to the same link. I want all of you to do a work for me, whoever is attending this class. After the live streaming is over, put your feedback, your comments, what you felt after understanding this topic from the advantage, disadvantage, and the recommendations point of view. What did you really understand? And the feedback with regard to the analyzing of this topic, because I analyzed in a totally backgroundical way and in a way from scratch to advanced level. So what did you feel out of it, and how do you feel? Especially the girls should put this data because this is very important. So thank you so much, and I hope you all really enjoyed the class. Yes, Risha, what is your doubt? Ma'am, that polygamy one will you take tomorrow or today? See, polygamy one, I'll tell you quickly. See, to marry more, okay, that is more number 5 as per the religious stuff. See, in Islam, if you say, okay, there was a war called as Urud War. There was a war actually. So now lot of females, they lost their husbands. So now the children and females, they became, abandoned. They were not financially independent. They didn't know what to do. They didn't have a shelter. So that time a rule was brought in where even if you're married, if you're able to take care of this particular people, like how you take care of your first wife, providing them all the necessary, shelter, food, equality, then you can marry. But doesn't mean that you can have any sort of sexual relation as such. If you want, you can. But basically to protect that population, really the decision was taken. But some fundamental Muslim people, they took it as a right and they said, I can have 1 wife, 2 wife, 3 wife, 4 wife. Today, if you go and do that, left, right, center, you will get nice also. Forget about Islam, be it any religion. Okay. You cannot even think of doing that. See, if you want to get married, get married. If you don't like the person, okay, part ways. And you go for the next partner if you want or do not want. It's not like keeping one and saying that you are my first wife, you stay here, I will again marry also. Some bullshit people do that. Even that, I'm sorry to say this, There was a Big Boss contestant in Kerala. Okay, this has happened some years before. I won't say the name of the contestant. My goodness, this particular person, so ridiculous. I'm sorry to use this word if I'm not abusing anyone, but so ridiculous that publicly, that too, he's a youngster, a progressive mind individual Muslim. He has a wife who's a love marriage, he has a kid also. He went and told his wife, I love the other girl, I want to marry. His wife agreed. So he tells, as per Islamic law, it is permitted. What nonsense? He has convinced the other girl, and the other girl is out of fear. What she'll do? She herself is saying that I'm very happy. And he got married to another girl, and publicly he's saying that I have two wives. Okay, good. But see, it is among their family, how they want to live and how they want to do stuff. See, we are nobody to question with their personal thing. But my request is, don't set this as an example to the upcoming youngsters, because they will also try say, because their intention will be different. In their family, they are living with so much of peace. They are having no sort of issues and all. But then when you talk about the youngsters, don't set all this as an example to them, because their mind will be corrupted. That we can have two or three wives, we can convince the first wife, if we say females will listen to us. What if the same girl is going and marrying another man? Will the husband stay with her, the same husband? That question was asked to him. He chup chop, he didn't open his mouth, he didn't say anything back. So this is the whole point. People need to really grow up here. You do whatever you want, you marry how much of you want, it's between your family, but have a notion that what is good, what is bad. See, I will blame the individual, not your partners. It is you yourself who's subjecting you to such kind of threats, abuses, and stuffs like that. Think for yourself, grow up, broaden the horizon of your brains. That is more important. Clear? So yes, now you tell me, raising legal age of marriage women in India, is it a need or a curse? I think majority will say it's a need. I will say it's a need. It's not a curse and all. Come on. In spite of having 18 years as minimum, also people are doing early marriage. So if you make it 21, will it make a difference in spite of the existing law is a big question mark. Yes, it will make a difference, provided this time they'll be screwing the laws and regulations in a more tighter manner. You got the point? And this got to be really hitting the bar soon as well. Clear? Perfect. So yes, thank you so much. And this particular topic is brought to me just because one of my regular UPSC Iconic Plus student, paid subscription student of Unacademy, Soham, kept on telling, ma'am, please come with legal age of marriage. Please come with this topic. I thought, chalo, I should come. And that's a thank you to you, Soham, because even I could research better. I appreciate you for telling me such kind of topics, And also you can put forward, you can tell me, ma'am, I want this topic via Telegram, via, WhatsApp, via Facebook, wherever you can connect me, you can tell me. Just go and Google Nisha Nujumudeen for UPSC. That is my Telegram channel name. Nisha Nujumudeen Telegram. If you Google and YouTube, you'll get my channel link as well. Clear? So perfect. So we are done. Thank you so much. So I hope you really enjoyed. Don't forget to put forward valuable feedbacks. It's time for us to wind up. See you all tomorrow at 6 a.m. with another interesting topic of the day under the same series called as Current Topics in News. So till then, bye-bye, take care, and most importantly, today 6 p.m. don't forget to come for the free special live class at Unacademy platform using the code Nisha IAS Live. All those who want to come under my personal mentoring program in the Unacademy paid platform along with the fee discount amount, you can use this code Nisha IAS Live for the mentoring as well. Clear? Because then I'll be taking your topics like this and building yourself apart from subject, reframe your personality as well. Anyways, see you all soon. Bye-bye. Thank you. Take care and Jai Hind. Have a great start of the day, guys.